I'm writing a book, and in this video, I'm going to talk through writing my rough draft, and I'm going to give you the title of my book. In previous videos, I've talked about why I'm writing my book, how I made my mind map, and how I made my outline. So the mind map, getting all your ideas out onto paper, or in my case, a whiteboard, just getting everything out and sorting them out later. An outline, refining all of those ideas, turning it into a structured outline, and really focusing on chapter structure at this point, what stories to include, what stories not to include, book structure as a whole. So, which chapters are going to go where, what order do I want to choose? And that was the outline. And so I have videos on all of those here on the YouTube channel that you can check out. But now we're to the rough draft part of my journey. I actually have to get to the next step, which is writing the book. So I had a goal based on the type of book I want to write and the audience I want to write to of getting to 25,000 words. And the biggest thing with writing that I learned from Chandler Bolt, shout out to Published and SPS, but is setting aside time and making sure you have a good environment to write in. So I knew that commitment wise, I could commit 30 minutes a day before I started my job, before I started work, and set aside 30 minutes to just write. The biggest thing here is not just the time, but also the environment. And so I needed a space, and in this case here at my desk, with little to no distractions. I put on some instrumental music that helps me focus. Shout out to lo-fi music if you listen to that. And limiting distractions, so turning on Do Not Disturb so that I could just focus on writing. So the only thing I had open was my Google Doc on my computer and my outline open that I use to write my rough draft. So right environment, right time, because 80% of people say they want to write a book and just under 1% actually do. So I wanted to make sure I was a part of that less than 1% and getting the writing done. So once I had the right environment and time set aside to write, next is the writing. And one of the rules they talk about with Published is keep writing, don't worry about editing. Write, because you can edit later. So no rereading, no going back and editing. The goal is to get the first draft done and to make edits later. This is a first draft. It's the first huge hurdle. And so that's a big thing. And as someone who's extremely critical and a self-proclaimed perfectionist, it was hard to not read as I was writing and see, ooh, is that good? Oh, I like the way I said that. But really put my head down, really just wrote everything down and getting it all out. I also had a lot of momentum initially. And so I wanted to make sure that I used that momentum to my advantage and wrote as much as I could, as fast as I could. Not that I rushed it, but I think it's important that when you're passionate about something and you have a lot of momentum, that you do use that to your advantage. So that's definitely what I did. I utilized my momentum. And again, my goal is 25,000 words. And after the first draft, I was just over 26,000 words. And this would get longer as I continued to write, but with the goal of 25, I was very happy that I hit at least that goal and got to 26,000 words. And the biggest thing that helped me write was my outline, which again, I talked about in a previous video, but having an incredibly clear outline with the chapter structure, the stories I was going to make, or the stories I was going to talk about, the points I was going to make for each chapter, that being super clear in the outline made it really, really easy for me to write the book and get through it. So one of the first two big challenges in finishing a book is finishing the first draft, the rough draft. And I did it, 26,000 words. And I did so by having a time and place to write and building a habit of writing that I stuck to. It also helped that took off a little bit of work for Christmas break. And so ended up having a lot of extra time where I wasn't working, that I was able to work on the book itself when my daughter was napping, or we had some downtime, or even maybe an hour late at night that I was restless and decided to come write for a little bit. So carried that momentum and finished my rough draft. So if you're looking to write a book and want to finish your rough draft, my biggest things that I would advise you is have a time and a space to write, build a habit of writing. And the biggest thing I did that I think was helpful was utilizing the momentum I had and the excitement that I had about becoming an author to my advantage. And in doing so, I wrote the rough draft of my book in 30 days. and it's something I think anyone is capable of. In the next video, I'm going to talk about my second draft, having my first read through, which is super scary, reading your own work, which I've never enjoyed. The second draft is the second hardest part in the writing stage, but for different reasons. So reading through and making the second draft, I'm going to talk about that in my next video. But let's get to the part that I know some people have been waiting on. And if you've been on my email list, which you can join by clicking the book updates down below, you've known the title of my book for a little over a month. So I want to talk through the title of my book, and you'll get a really good idea of who this book is for and what it's about. So initially, I've mentioned this, but this book started out as a passion project for me. I've always wanted to become an author, and quickly turned into how can I actually use this to influence other people. And with that, who do I have the authority to write to? Well, teenagers, young 20s, early 20s, people who are going to get their first job. So initially, when several years ago, decided my first book would be leadership lessons that I learned in my time at Chick-fil-A. And now that my time at Chick-fil-A is over with, the first idea I had last summer was 10 leadership lessons from 10 years at Chick-fil-A. And obviously I couldn't use Chick-fil-A in the title for copyright and legal reasons, but that was gonna be the whole basis of the book, was just 10 leadership lessons from 10 years at Chick-fil-A. But as I actually got into this writing process, late fall, early winter, at the end of last year, I kind of settled on how to get the most out of your first job. That was my first idea of the title. That was my first idea of a subtitle after I came up with the title. And I workshopped this around, and I came up with some cute names and clever names too, like Career Launchpad. I was really excited about that one initially because I wanted to have a little rocket ship icon on the book and thought that would look really cool. But I'm glad I didn't do that. I think it's really important to have a really clear title that really defines what the book is about and who the book is for. And so with that, the title of my book is Master Your First Job. Still working on the subtitle, but again, if you click the book updates link down below, you can actually help me come up with a subtitle. There's a link there to vote on the subtitle for my book. But Master Your First Job, that's the title. This book is for anyone who is in the process of getting or is working at their first job. This could be 15 years old, working a part-time job for the first time. This could be 22, and you're getting out of college and getting a job for the first time. Anyone in that stage, I wrote this book for you. I want to help you get a master's degree in your first time work experience. That's what I wrote the book for. So it is 10 chapters. It is 10 things I learned over my 10-year career at Chick-fil-A, and things that I learned that I wish I could have had at the beginning so that I could have made even more out of my first time job. But I use these 10 things I learned to master my first job, get my first career opportunity, and then start my own business. And I want to give you the same tools that I had. So Master Your First Job, coming out, we don't know yet, more to come, 2024. It will be out this year, and I hope to have a date very soon. If you want to find out more information on Master Your First Job, including voting on the subtitle and getting a free copy of the book prior to launch, click the book updates link below. In the next video, I'm going to talk about creating the second draft of my book. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care.